Are you terrible at Geometry Dash? My fault.
Do you ever feel like you're not good enough at the game? No matter what level
Never.
you beat and how much time you spend on it, you simply feel like you're never good enough. You think that once you beat a demon level, you're gonna finally be good enough at the game. Then it's a hard demon, and then you think that beating an extreme
Hey,
demon
9 circles. We just beat that, chat. I just beat that, like, what is it? 2 weeks ago?
will fix that feeling. But when you end up beating the extreme demon and you still realize that you aren't good enough, then it becomes a problem. What is good enough in Geometry Dash? What is a bad player?
So we're just showing conics.
What is the point at which you're better than average? And
Right? That's
when you
conics,
get into
right?
competitive play, does the answer change? By the end of the video, you will have the answer to all of these
You're gonna find it.
questions. But first, we have to set some definitions. First, what is good enough in Geometry Dash? I think a good definition for a good enough player is one that can play most of the difficulties in the game. Considering that the game has tens of thousands of levels ranging from 1 star to just a demon difficulty, you could theoretically be a good enough player without even having to beat a demon at all. Say for example, you manage to beat all of the Roptop levels except for the demons, and you can beat any rated level until the 10-star difficulty. I would generally say that you are a good enough player. Because, for instance, if there's 100,000 rated levels, out of which, let's say, half are demons, you can already beat half of the levels that are rated in the game. I'd say that's pretty good,
Dang,
since someone
wait.
who would have just got
Chat, so I'm a good enough player. Is what I'm getting from this. Chat, I'm a good enough player. Because I can beat all the Roptop levels. I've beaten a hard demon, which is debatable. Chat, like, how much harder is 9 circles than Deadlocked? How much harder would you guys say? It's quite a bit harder. I'd say it's definitely, like, I'm definitely a good enough player.
in the game
Like people be calling me Unk in the chat, but you guys are just like, you guys are full of it. You guys don't know what you're talking about.
wouldn't even be close to being able to do that. So, if that's what a good enough player is, what is a bad player? Well, setting a definition for what a bad player is hard.
Yeah, I feel like, because you can be really bad at Fortnite, right? But you can, like, understand the game and things like that. But then, like, with GD, it's like, how do you define a bad player? Because bad players are people that, you know, can't beat Stereo Madness, or, like, can't beat all the Roptop. Like, is a bad player someone who can't beat all the Roptop levels? Is a bad player someone that can't beat a demon? You know what I mean? It's just...
Say that a bad player is barely able to play most levels. Unlike what we just talked about, this sort of player doesn't even fully understand the game. He sees things on the screen moving, but he can't understand it. He doesn't exactly know what every portal does, how every game mode works.
This is like
and
Izzy.
he just isn't able to beat most.
So it's like
rated
it's like my roommate Izzy. If you guys haven't seen him play, he's pretty dog shit. He's also editing this video right now, so hi.
That aren't even demons. He's only able to beat them in practice mode and would struggle very hard otherwise. Essentially, a bad player in the game is the opposite of what a good enough
That's
player
you.
is. So now the question is, when are you better than average? The issue with answering that is that it depends on who you count as a GD player. Do we count only current?
This is what I'm saying. It's like, if you have a streamer who's playing the game and they can't beat Geometry, like, they're struggling on Stereo Madness and they can't beat Stereo Madness, are they a bad player? Because they don't play the game. They're just, like, is a bad player someone who actively tries to play but can't beat most levels? Is that like a bad player? Because that's what I'd say. I'd say, like, a bad player is someone who plays the game actively, or at least at, like, somewhat of an intermediate level, can't beat, like, most easy demons without like under a certain amount of attempts. You know what I mean? I think that's pretty valid.
Active players. Do we count players of all time? Say, people that were active 5 years ago. Do we count every person who played the game once? Maybe every person who played for a minimum of 1 hour? What is the standard? Because I'm not an international corporation, I do not have this data. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to cover one of these, and that is all-time players, including very casual players, because as big as the core Geometry Dash competitive community is, the game is bigger among casual players, so I think it's fair that we add them in here. So the question now becomes, when are you better than the average player in Geometry Dash, including people who play the game casually every now and then, or that play it in their free time on mobile? And my answer to that is beating a medium demon. I think a very good example of a player that enters the casual part of the game is Jinxie. He's been able to beat every Roptop level apart from Deadlock, which is commonly referred to as a medium demon. I'd personally say
Yeah.
that if you manage to beat all of the Rothop levels, including Deadlocked, and possibly 1 to 2 more online rated medium demons, you are definitely better than the average GD player.
So you guys think that I'm better than the average GD player? Because I actually, like, this is a genuine question. If you beat 9 Circle, like, because I beat 9 Circle, that's my hardest. Do you guys think like I'm better than the average? I feel like yes, right? I mean that's like genuinely, like be genuine. Yeah, I guess you're good.
Because a casual player like Jinxie, even after putting tens of hours in the game, was not able to do this. It isn't an easy achievement for most people, and it will take a while to get done. So this is my answer when it comes to what
To
is
be
a
honest
good
though, chat, Deadlocked is pretty fun. I mean, looking back at it, it's pretty easy. Like I could probably beat it in like 10
player,
attempts.
what is a bad player, and when you are better than average. One thing
Yo, why do we keep showing this clip
when
of
it comes to
Jinxie,
what
bro?
is a good player, what is a bad player, and when you are better than
Yo, bro, who is editing this video?
average.
Okay.
One thing I
Yo, Hubert, bro, like, yo,
didn't mention, however,
let's take a chill pill.
is that the skill ceiling in the game is so high, you need to differentiate these questions between the normal side of Geometry Dash and the competitive side.
That was loud, chat. Welcome to the competitive side.
Psst. Before we carry on with the video,
Yeah, I would say, chat, I would say I'm above average. Like on the casual side, I don't play the game like all day. I think I'm above average. I beat Bloodbath. Am I good at the game? Yes, bro. If you beat any extreme chat, I think if you beat any extreme demon, you are good at the game. I think casual side, I'm above average. I think once I beat Cataclysm, then I'm definitely like way above average. But yeah, chat, I think like whenever you beat an extreme, then it's like you're like there. Except for like a super easy extreme, I'd say. But like if you beat like anything Kata and above, I'd say you're like a very good player. But you're not like you're a very good player in a casual sense. Competitive sense, I'd say you're a good player if you can beat like, what do you guys think, like a top 30, top 40?
it would be awesome if you could subscribe. It's the only way I know whether or
Yeah,
not
and like
to keep
whether
making
you're on
videos
like
like
the
these, and would
player
also help
list.
me reach my goal of 10k by the end of the year. But anyway, let's get back to the video. Congrats.
You think any list demon? But like I'm talking about like a professional competitive player. I think like to be a good professional competitive player, you need to be like have beat like a top 30 current demon.
If you're better than
yeah,
everything
I feel
mentioned
that.
before
I
this
agree.
point,
I agree.
you have now entered the competitive side of the game. By
Same
this
guy who
point,
glazes doggy. Yo, like I'm not gonna tell you again. Blink, like
a casual player would finish the game and have no real reason to keep playing. Now you're just doing so because you got addicted and want to see how far you can get. Anything beyond this point in the video is already a good player that is better than all of the casuals and better than average. Although, just for clarification, since I said the last step is beating a few medium demons, I'd consider the space between medium and extremes, so hard and insane demons, to be a transitional period. If you're at those difficulties right now, you're not a casual, but you're also not fully into the competitive side. You are in the middle.
I don't think I'd ever even want to be a competitive player, chat. Like I just enjoy playing the game casually, grinding whatever level, and like you guys get what I mean. Like I don't really care to like. I just don't have the care.
It's just
That's actually kind of fucking insane.
The difference between casual and competitive play is absolutely huge. If in casual play, the biggest skill gap is between Stereo Madness and Deadlocked, in competitive, the biggest skill gap is from Cataclysm to Grief. Yep, this game's hard. So hard, in fact, that you need to get to Extreme Demons from Stereo Madness first before you can even talk about playing competitively. Jesus Christ. Okay, so now let's ask the same questions, but for people actually playing competitively. Actively
Was this guy clone from Jinxie? No.
trying to push their skill to their genetic limit and push the skill ceiling of the game further. Let's do this. So, what is a good competitive player? If you said someone who beat an extreme demon, you'd be wrong. That is the entry of being a competitive player in the first place. Now, as someone who's beaten a few list demons for a few good years now, I'd say that I have a pretty good understanding of how hard the skill ceiling of the game really is. For those that don't have an idea, I'll talk a little bit from experience. Whatever your hardest demon is, if you want a rough idea of difficulty, do a practice run of Firework, the top 41 extreme demon. After a long enough time period, I actually managed to beat that level and I thought I was really good at the game. You see, the difference from Firework, which is the 41th hardest level in the game, and Grief, which is an upcoming
Chat, like, how hard actually is Grief? I saw this video about going over like all of like the KZ, I think you actually sent it to me. It was one like seeing actually how hard Grief is. I think we need to react to that in like a few days, or like just like watch that video. Chat, like there, like the jump to Grief from like any like level under like top 30 is like like it's just insane. It's like honestly, Grief is like an, and I even think like what is it, like Artemis 13, the level that Zoink's doing, it's like genuinely insane.
Coming top 1 is probably bigger than whatever your hardest level is to Firework. You would genuinely beat Firework faster as a jump from Cataclysm than beat Grief as a jump from Firework. The gap from 41 to number 1
crazy.
is bigger than the gap from 1500 to number 40. It is ridiculous. So, with a skill ceiling being so high, I would generally say that a good enough competitive player is someone who managed to beat a list level or something close to it.
Yeah.
Since the list always changes and the game gets progressively harder, at the time of making this video, I'd say a good example of a good enough player is someone who beat levels around the difficulty of Kinos, Zodiac, Crimson Planet, Renevant, and Cognition. Levels outside of this range a little bit, like Cobwebs and Bloodlust, are also fine in my opinion since they are relatively close.
Chat, one day I'm gonna beat Bloodlust, bro. Like, you guys might not believe it, bro. You guys might not believe it, but I'm gonna beat Bloodlust one day.
A list to the point where you could comfortably go from them to a current list demon. Obviously, like before, a bad player in the competitive space is the opposite of what we just talked about. It's someone who isn't close to the difficulty of levels around the top 150 range. Just to clarify, and I want to make myself very clear here, if you beat an extreme demon, no matter where it is on any list, you are significantly better than 99% of the game's total player base.
Wait.
You are still extremely good and in the top 1% players of all time. It's just that in that 1%, you are at the bottom of it. So don't worry, you're still cracked.
If I beat Red World, I'm still in the top 1% of players. Because I feel like I could honestly beat Red World in like a week if I grinded it.
And so the last question is, when are you better than average in the competitive space? Again, the list always changes, but
if you beat anything above a hard demon, you're in the top 1%. So wait, chat, I'm in the top 1%.
at the time of making this video, I think levels around the difficulty of Black Blizzard and the RGB are a good idea of a competitive player that is better than average. They can beat most extreme demons by this point, and the only ones out of their skill range are the top 30% hardest extreme demons in the game. Everything up until that point, so about 99.9% of all levels in the game, this player can complete with almost no issue. Out of the hundreds of thousands of levels rated in this game, this player is only unable to beat 300 of them. So if you're in this category, congrats, you are extremely good. Now, since I covered everything else in this video so far, I'm also gonna explain what I believe is a top player and a pro player in this game. In my opinion, I think a top player can beat every single level.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think a top player and a pro player is the same thing. Am I wrong? Chat, doesn't that like make more sense? A top player and a pro player are like the same thing. And I think like a top player, it would be like chat, let's think about top players for a second. We got Zoink, obviously, W Popoff. We have Doggy. Well, Doggy's been on Grief for chat. If Doggy wasn't doing Grief, I think he would probably be like top 5. Yeah, and then we have a Trick, right? Levy, like chat, that's probably like the main. I mean, obviously there's more, right? But I think I agree. I think a top player can beat every single level. Like obviously it might take longer for certain levels. Like I think like obviously Grief will take longer, Tidal Wave will take people long, but like eventually, like if you grind a level, like they could beat every single level within like, you know, like a month period. Like maybe unless like except for like a couple, right? But or I guess like the number one, like probably the top 5. You guys get what I mean though. You guys get exactly what I mean. That makes sense.
Of the rated levels in the entire game and history of it, a top player can undeniably beat all of them. There is not a single rated level that they cannot complete. A pro player, on the other hand, I'd say is someone who could almost beat all the levels in the game, except for levels that are probably in the top 10, 20,
I
or
agree.
30. If they could beat any level up until that point, they are a pro player in my eyes. But yep, this is what I believe makes a good Geometry Dash player and a
I
good
actually like this.
competitive
This is a good
player.
video.
As someone who's been in the community for nearly a decade now and have thousands of hours in the game. If you think I was wrong or just have a different opinion, let me know what it is in the comments. I always pin the best comment on the video subject and read what you guys have to say. If you have any good video ideas you want my opinion on, I made a channel on my Discord server where you could join and let me know. You should low-key join that anyway, because I'm very active. If you like the video, subscribe.
W video chat. So I think I'm honestly like probably one of the best players in the game now. Yeah, like, subscribe, check out the stream, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.